Hello, Fight Insight fans, viewers and listeners, and hopefully future subscribers. I'm your co-host, Brady Bunch, aka the Non-Binary Ninja, and with me, as always, your host, Timmy B. Hit it.
Are we ready to go? Was that it?
Oh, well, on today's episode, sorry, you probably have to edit that out. On today's episode, we have so much to talk about, right? First of all, we're going to talk to another Canadian legend, just like Timmy B, Canadian-born media star turned boxing master, right? Destroyed her opponent. And we're also going to discuss the 2022 social media gains of the Big Four. And we're going to have a very, very interesting topic on Dana White.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Super interesting, Brady Bunch. Here we go.
Hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fight Insight Podcast. Let's talk.
These intros will get better with time, Brady Bunch. Our guest today is a Canadian-born influencer with over 123 subscribers and almost 12 million views on YouTube, who recently fought at Rough and Rowdy's event on December 9th, where she obliterated her opponent in a boxing match. She became known to me because she trained with our friend and former guest of the podcast, Canadian professional boxer and owner of Enhanced Inc. in London, Ontario, Mark Pecali One Gun. And so I'm very excited to have her on the show to talk about her experience, her training, and what's next for her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast, Sinister, Sarah Farrugia.
Hello.
What's up?
Intro.
Oh boy. How are you, Sarah? How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Welcome. Another, like Brady Bunch said, I appreciate it. Another Canadian legend in the making.
Oh my God, legend. You really getting hyped over here.
Living legend. Sarah, first question for you, Sarah. How did they let you back into Canada after committing murder?
That's a good question. Let me right over the border right after that one.
Yeah. I mean, Sarah, explain your experience for those that didn't watch Rough and Rowdy.
Oh my God.
Just like briefly, like the boxing itself.
Yeah.
How was that experience fighting in front of how many people were in that crowd?
I think there was like a good 6,000 people in that crowd.
They were cheering like they were 20,000.
Yeah. Yeah, and then obviously everyone at home. But yeah, I've always wanted to box. So when this all happened and I saw it on Susie's story, I was like, I'm so excited to fight. But how it happened was, sorry, is that what your question was?
Everything. We'll get to
that. So I guess Susie was in this boxing match and then her opponent dropped out. Yeah, so that's how it started. And then she posted on her Instagram. She was like, I'm looking for an opponent. Now, I responded as a joke. I was going to delete the message I sent her, which is so crazy. But I was like, I'm down. And she responded and was like, what's your height and weight? And then I didn't really have a chance to be like, okay, I don't have a choice. Like, I have to do this. Like, I've always wanted to do it. And then, a week later, I started training and then trained for like 4 to 5 weeks. And then I fought in Rough and Rowdy in my first fight.
Okay. Okay, hold on. There's a few things. Had you been training before those 4 or 5 weeks?
No, like I did like one kickboxing class maybe like 4 years ago. And it was more of just like a workout. Let's like hit the bag vibes. But that was my first time actually training. And I was training twice a day at Enhanced. So I wasn't playing around. Like I was like ready to get into the ring. So.
Okay. How many street fights have you had in the mean streets of London, Ontario?
See, my dad is actually like the street fighter. Like he grew up in the East End. I think he's had like over 50 fights, but I've never fought anyone. So
Zero.
I'm like a very nice person. Like I actually hate confrontation. So to do this, it was really difficult for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy though, that 4 to 5 weeks of training, you go in there. Now
I know. I still don't believe it. Like it's so crazy.
Go ahead, Brady.
Yeah. Were you ever like, I'm so bad with like age and everything, but were you ever like a college athlete, high school athlete? because I was performance, and hearing it 4 to 5 weeks, even more impressed.
I know. I did play sports my whole life. I played basketball was my main sport. So I was captain of the basketball team in like high school. And then I played for a team called Ramblers. That was like more grade 5 to like 8 and then high school basketball. So yeah, I love like audiences and stuff. So I think I was fine with the crowd. But when I honestly like training in the ring made me so comfortable in that ring. Like as soon as I stepped into that ring, I was like, I don't even care what's going on right now. Like I feel like at home. But yeah, I played sports my whole life. I won like female athlete of the year in grade 8.
Right.
Yeah, I love sports. I've been playing sports my whole life.
Yeah, but playing sports your whole life, like I played sports my whole life and all that, would not set me up to be in that 6,000. I really feel you're underestimating that number, because if you watch that Rough and Rowdy, that is bigger crowd than like a lot of events that happen with fighting.
Yeah,
it was a rowdy crowd. Like
it was rowdy. Like there was a lot going on.
They were screaming. I don't feel like there was any security in that arena. Like people just seemed to be everywhere.
Yeah, there was security, but like I think they were just secretly fans dressed in.
Yeah. That said, you had a large posse with you. It looked like you were coming in with like a lot of people around you for support. Yes. Like you were coming in representing Canada, which was cool. I appreciate that. You trained with Enhanced Inc. Like you're saying, okay, so 4 or 5 weeks you train. How long before you were sparring with people?
Oh my God.
Like, was it day 1, day 2? Like, how quickly did you have to get to that level?
So Mark, my coach, literally was like, I don't let people spar for months usually.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Yeah, it's just like not whatever. But so I started sparring 3 weeks in. Like
that means you only had 1 week of sparring before the fight?
Yeah, I technically had 2 weeks of sparring before the fight. But I also had to take a rest time off. So I had like a week and a half of sparring. And I actually only did like 4 sparring sessions, like 4 to 5.
Good for you.
But we did like
that's crazy to me.
I know. And then when we sparred, we did 3 minutes because like we wanted to build my endurance for the 1 minute.
Yeah.
But oh my God, every time I sparred after, I cried. Like it was not like the first time I did it, I got hit in the face so hard and just everywhere. I was like, what is going on? I don't know if I'm ready for this. But oh my God, the week before the fight, and actually like a few weeks before, I felt like defeated after almost every practice. I don't know why. I was just like, I feel like I'm shit. And then next time I would get better. And then I don't know, boxing's like your whole life. It's weird.
Yeah, like okay, so I mean that's crazy and super impressive. But you know what? It's good for the people that watch this podcast that aren't fighters or that think that they can do it. There's a big difference between actually getting in there and doing it to your level. But when you spar, you have to spar people that are far better than you.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise, what are you learning? And yes, you're going to be so defeated and so upset. But then the next time you get in there and you don't do as bad, you're like, oh, I am learning. I am getting that little bit better, right?
Yeah.
So,
you're right.
I mean, just crazy, like the transition. You've posted videos, and so I'm going to put it up on the screen, but for people listening only on audio, she's on Instagram. Your Instagram is at s.farr, F-A-R-R.
Yeah. Sarah Farrugia was taken. Someone apparently has my name. So.
Okay. And then everywhere else, like where people want to follow you, it's mostly on YouTube.
Yes, yeah. Everything, Rough and Rowdy hasn't posted the whole fight yet, but it should be coming up soon. But all my other content is on YouTube, so Sarah Farrugia. And then TikTok is Sarah Farrugia with an extra A. So is Twitter. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And for those listening, it's Farrugia. I'll put it in the show notes so you can find her.
And you said it right.
Yes, I was practicing. I didn't want to screw that up. I don't need one of those. I don't need one of those London haymakers coming my way. Yeah. Right?
Dave Portnoy butchered my name the entire fight.
Yes. Okay. Can I say that the announcing was a little bit biased?
Okay, so I think after, I don't know if you guys know this, but I guess they messed up like whoever gave them the papers with the name on it. Like I was actually supposed to be in the red corner.
That happened with my fight too, actually. They mixed up
right. The whole time he thought I was Susie, and then the guy was like, no, that's Sarah. And then at the end of the fight, I don't know if you heard them be like, that was unfair. I don't know if you heard that at the end of the fight.
Okay, wait, unfair because you murdered her.
So, yeah, so when I first heard it, I was like, oh my God, they literally said the fight was unfair. Like, I look like the worst person on planet Earth. But they were actually saying it was unfair to Dave's brain to have it be like Susie and Sarah and like all the S's were confusing him. So this whole, like, even Susie's been saying like the fight was unfair, blah blah. I'm like, that's not even what they said.
Well, no, but here's the thing. And so we've talked about this before because we have amateur fighters, amateur MMA fighters, whatever, like on this podcast, right? Mm-hmm. The thing is, on your first fight, you never know who you're going to get because it's normally an 0-0 versus an 0-0. Mm-hmm. And so you can be a future killer or you can be a future dud. But nobody knows until that first one. So when you go out there and fight another 0-0 fighter and kill them as you did, it's not unfair. It's just like, well, shit. Now we know where they.
I was very. I have to say, I was very overtrained for that one.
No, but this is the good thing. We talk about it. We talk about it with Brady Bunch all the time. Like, you gotta train with real trainers. And I remember Mark was saying, I think Mark posted after your fight. He posted something like, "This is what happens when you train 4 weeks at a real gym versus 6 weeks at a cardio kickboxing gym."
Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, it's crazy. I'm so happy for you. Now, I see on your Instagram that you're still training now.
Yes, I love it. It's so fun.
So now you've got the bug. Mm-hmm. And people were posting in on an Instagram. They were asking, like, I don't know, so many people posted the same question pretty much, which is, I'll just rhyme off a few. Chris is getting gold. Do you plan on boxing again in boxing tournaments? Blackie Chan, would you ever do another professional boxing match? Jay Shauna 25, any future fights versus who? So people are asking, they want to know, are you going to fight again?
So I would 100% fight in Rough and Rowdy again. I just don't. The next one's February 10th, so that's in like a month. I haven't heard anything yet. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's too early to give you notice.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what's going on yet, but I know Mark wants me to like actually take on a real boxing match, like Ontario boxing. Yes. But this is like, I actually haven't really told anyone this, but I actually have retina tears. I don't know if you've heard of like retinal detachment or anything like that.
Okay.
But me getting knocked in the head, or like if I got into a car accident or whatever, I went to my optometrist. It's been 2 years ago, on New Year's Eve. I went in and she saw retina tears. Like, my eyes were teared at the back. So I actually had to get emergency surgery the next day. They gave me laser eye surgery to correct the tears. So they're like healed now. But it's something I do have to keep checking in on, because obviously boxing, like, straight to the head, like I could be fully, like, my retina could get detached. So it's just something I have to keep an eye on, but that's definitely like my fear with boxing. But like, I love it so much. I like wish I didn't have it.
I mean, yeah. So actually it's funny because, I don't know, maybe like 3 months ago, I did a podcast where I was wearing sunglasses the whole time. And it's not because I'm like so cool, but it's because I actually had vitreous detachment, which is very similar to retinal detachment. But yeah, I always like see like little stars and stuff.
Yes, the floaters, like
floaters. Yeah, I see it all the time. Yeah. So okay, now, and for those that didn't watch your fight yet, you weren't wearing headgear.
No.
How the hell does that happen that you don't wear headgear? Like in a lot of like amateur fights, like did they ever ask you, do you want headgear? Or was it always just no?
No, like, I didn't even ask, because I was like, I think if I ask, they're just going to be like, what do you think this is? Like, they're like, this is Rough and Rowdy, babe. Like, suck it up. Like, that was the answer I was waiting for. So I was like, I either have to do that. Like, we do have 16-ounce gloves. So they are like padded, bigger gloves.
Yeah.
But still, like, that shit hurts when you're
tell that to Susie.
Yeah, like, that definitely. I literally said I give props to Susie, because I would have not, like, I would have been like, I'm done, like, second round in.
Yeah. And by all means, I'm not disparaging Susie at all. And I know we're making jokes and stuff like that, but holy shit, she got into the ring and she stood with it, right? Like, she got up off that stool. Crazy. Yeah. Like, so to that end, and I know super sexist, but girl fighters are a little bit different. We've seen it in the UFC, especially, where at the end of the fight, they don't hug as much. They're normally still angry at each other. You and Susie, what's the deal?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, like, I didn't even know what to do. No one prepared me for, like, when I win, what do I do? Like, I actually don't know what to do after I win. Like, I was like, do I hop on, like, the ropes? Like, what am I doing here? Yeah. So, and now that I look back at it, I wish I did hug her because, like, it was all love from me at the end of the day. Like, it was, like, obviously we have to do promo, whatever. But me and Susie, I know Susie's, like, a great person at the end of the day, and so am I. But in the moment, it was, like, I didn't even know what was going on. It was just, like, I was heated. I won. Yeah.
Yeah. So then did you talk to her afterwards?
Yeah. So right after the fight, when I won, I have imposter syndrome. I have this thing where, like, when I get to a certain point or, like, if I win something, I actually feel, like, just extremely empty. It's really weird. Okay. So when I won, I actually didn't even feel like I won. You know what I mean? It doesn't even make sense. But so after I won, I actually just, like, felt bad and I wanted to see her. So right after the fight, I went to my locker room, whatever, like, celebrated with, like, my friends and family. And then I made sure I went to her, like, I didn't know where her locker room was, but I went to that area. And then one of her coaches came up to me and was like, we're so sorry we didn't show enough, like, sportsmanship, because, like, they didn't really come up to me at all before or after. And I actually went to their corner and, like, wanted to shake their hands, but they all left. Like, whatever. So yeah, I went up to him and I was like, is there any way I can see Susie? Like, I just want to.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to see how she's doing. Cause I've obviously played sports, like, sportsmanship means a lot to me. So he wouldn't let me see her for, like, at least 30 minutes. Cause I think she was just, like, super upset, which I totally
Of course.
get.
Yeah.
And then, after, like, 30 minutes, he actually came to my area, brought me in. There was, like, 40 people in her locker room, like, camera on me and Susie. And I was like, oh my God, this is, like, a lot. But yeah, I don't really remember what I said to her. I was just kind of like, you did so good. Like, even though that was, like, the outcome, like, let's go get a drink. Like, let's celebrate. Like, you still, like, we did that. We just did that, right? So yeah, like, it's all love from my end. And so I think same with her. We've been, like, DMing, and, like, next time I'm in LA, like, I think we're gonna, like, hang out and stuff. So yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
After her taking such an L, but props to her for stepping in the ring, does she have any desire to try boxing again? Or
I did watch her, like, recent podcast, and I think she would. I think she just said she wanted to do, like, fight someone. Well, okay, that's the other thing that made me kind of upset, because I know she's talking about the height difference. But
okay, hold on. Before you get to that,
let's just, like,
hold on. Before you get, we're gonna get to the height thing. I'm just gonna play an audio message I received for you.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me just make sure that this plays right.
Hey Sarah, it's Coach. I'm proud of you for all the hard work that you've done and winning this fight. But you are lying. You're not 5'6". You are 5'9", and you have longer than anybody else.
No, he didn't.
So
Mark,
why were you?
I'm going to a different gym now. Like, we're actually. I thought it was gonna be, like, a motivational speech.
No, it's calling you out, your own coach.
Wow, Mark.
So what's the deal with your height? What did you lie about?
Okay. I actually just recently went on a different podcast. We literally whipped out the measuring tape. Like,
all right.
We got it done. I am 5'5", and when I texted her about my height too, I said I'm 5'5" to 5'6". I, like, even gave her that extra inch because I was like, I know I'm not 5'6", but I'm in that range. Yeah, she's just saying it was, like, a height difference, which, first off, height doesn't even matter in boxing. Like, it's not a height class, it's a weight class.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yeah, and, like, I've sparred the girl I was sparring. Her name's Danae. She's national champion. She was 5'1", literally beat the shit out of me.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Actually, like, I have it on video. Like, I couldn't even touch her.
No, that's the thing. So there was a guy that came on our podcast. He was my co-host for the he was the co-host for the Vanilla Gorilla Chase Sherman
Okay.
interview with UFC. And that guy, Jackson, he would beat me up every time. Boxing,
Right?
Muay Thai, whatever. He would kill me. I couldn't even touch him.
No, you couldn't touch him.
But
What?
I appreciated it so much because I'm like, okay, one day I'm going to clip this motherfucker. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like one day
Yeah.
I'm going to get him. And then, so you just keep training with those people because those are the people that are going to get you better. And especially if those are respectful people. So your girl, I'm sure, was respectful, you know, doesn't just pound you the whole 3 minutes, right? Will give you a little bit of chance, whatever. And that's what helps you get better. So again, I'm so glad that I'm glad that you had that moment with Susie.
Yes,
because that's nice, you know, and it's
Yeah,
cool
no,
that you
it
guys
was.
become friends.
Yeah, like I've actually met Susie before, and like obviously she was a part of the vlog squad, and I liked her energy then and there. So I was like, that's why when she originally came out, because we didn't really talk before the beef happened. Like she posted, and it was like this clout chaser like wants to fight, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, okay, we're like getting into this like right now. So yeah, we didn't have a chance to like talk as friends. It was just like beef. I didn't even know if it was real or fake. It felt real. So I was like, okay, I was like, let's do this.
but that's good though. And I mean, I love Mark, obviously, but holy moly, the difference between a rough and rowdy fight for you versus like a real fight.
Yeah,
it's going to be night and day in terms of like, you're like, wait a second, like rough and rowdy's going to promote the shit out of it. Yep. You're going to have all that drama and all that. And that crowd, I've never been like to a fight that looks like that rough and rowdy crowd. It was amazing.
It was insane. It was actually crazy because I felt so much. Originally accepting this boxing match, I was like, I'm going to be like the hated, like, this girl sucks. Like, we're here for Susie, which it like kind of was in certain ways. But I actually had so much more support than I thought I was going to, like, especially from the other rough and rowdy fighters. Like, I'm friends with like a bunch of them now, and like, they're like a weird family that I don't know them that well, but like we're all friends, and the environment was so great. Like the police guards were like, good fight. Like everyone was just so nice.
So how crazy is that? I'm going to put a photo here. This is you and Coach Mark.
Yes.
There's our buddy. What's up, Mark? He's a great guy. We're going to have him back on the podcast again very soon as well in the new year. And then here's a gift you gave to him that he posted.
Oh my God, yes.
That's beautiful.
I didn't even know they did that. Like pop off Timmy's.
Wait, what?
Tim Hortons, like I looked up, okay, so Mark's obsessed with Tim Hortons. I don't know, like the entire trip we were together, like he was just talking about like red eye coffees, like Tim Hortons. He's like, I wish there was a Tim Hortons in Providence. I'm like, all right. Yeah, so I looked up like Tim Hortons gift cards, so I was gonna get him one, and it was like personalize your Tim Hortons card. I was like, okay. So yeah, I just threw a picture on there. It came in like 2 days.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, I mean, I hope Tim Hortons sponsors this podcast.
I was literally about to say, I just said Tim Hortons like 10 times.
yeah, post that on your Instagram and get us a sponsorship.
Yeah, just keep like bleeping it out.
Yeah, the picture I showed, though, again, for those on audio, was you gave him a Tim Hortons card that has the photo of you and him celebrating, like printed on it. So that was really cool. I thought that was nice. I'm glad to hear that you're going to keep training at the very least. And of course, now that you've got that bug and you've got that itch, it's guaranteed you're going to fight again, like at whatever point, but guaranteed you will.
I know. It's like I'm on this like high right now where I'm just like, I won, but then I'm like, once I lose, I'm like, am I going to feel the same? I'm like, I almost don't want it to happen yet.
Yeah. Well, it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get up. Look, if you ever do lose, right, it's a learning opportunity. Coach Mark will walk you through all that, right? Like how to be able to deal with that. And I think that's what's important too about having a good coach and good people around you, is that they'll be able to walk you through that, right? Exactly. The emotions of the high and the low. So let me get to some other fan questions. What else did I have here?
My one friend's mom said she sent one in.
All right. Well, okay. What's your friend's mom? What's her handle?
Oh no, I don't even know if she wants me to say it.
Well, I would have read it out if I randomly picked hers.
It's I think it's HK72.
Oh, okay. Hold on. That's near the top here of the list. She was quick to post in. HK72 says, do you tan? Okay, I didn't even like this question. Do you plan on taking boxing seriously in any capacity? You're pretty damn serious.
Helen, you're calling me not serious?
Sarah versus Helen
Yeah.
at the next Rough and Rowdy.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think she's saying as in like, well, I actually maybe do this like professionally. I think she's trying to ask.
Sure.
But yeah, one of my other friends was like, you should go pro. And I'm like, I don't even like know how to do that. Like, how do you even go pro? Like, that's crazy.
Hey, you just keep taking fights and it will happen. Mark will walk you through that. But can I ask, okay, so you, for those that don't know you, you are famous through your YouTube? The reason you get this fight is because you're an influencer, right? You have 123,000 subscribers. That's just a few more than I have. You're famous through your YouTube though, through your YouTube videos and things like that.
Yeah, I started YouTube I started YouTube like 6 years ago, but I started posting about like 2 years ago consistently. And my videos just started to take off like last year. So that was great. We're at like kind of I don't really know what my content is right now, but I think that's like the best part about being a social media creator, because it's like I don't really have a niche and I never did. And I'm like open to anything, obviously. Like, as you can tell, I'm ready to do anything. But yeah, I would love to do like reality shows, things like that. Like, that really interests me. And I guess we'll just have to see where the future takes us.
Nice. No, congratulations. And that's good news, because another question that I had submitted, how do I quit my full-time job and become a full-time influencer?
Oh,
that's actually from my wife, who I really don't want to quit her full-time job.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh, how do I even?
But
I don't even know, honestly.
Your advice.
What would be my advice?
Yeah, like, what is your advice for? Okay, not my wife. Please don't say this to my wife. But your
wife would kill it. I already know it.
Your advice for people that want to become more of a successful influencer or vlogger or whatever it is. Like, what is your advice for that?
Okay. This is hard, because making money and monetizing on these platforms it's really hard. Like on TikTok, I don't get paid because we're in Canada and like there's not even a creator fund. Yeah. I think you can make money through live videos, but I don't really do that. YouTube is where I like monetized off of, but it's definitely not something where I could like buy a Bugatti or like a house right now. Like, I'm still saving. Like, I'm just I'm 22. But I obviously see some influencers like making millions, and like that's just not me right now. Like, it just like that's the true reality of it. Like, it's a lot harder than it looks, if that makes sense. But give okay, hold on 1 sec. But give one tip. One tip. If you become like successful, quit your job tomorrow and like become an influencer.
Just one tip to get better at being a more successful influencer.
I think like consistency, and now that I see it, I'm like, I should have a niche. But if you like makeup, or if you do like grocery hauls, you love Costco, like those do really good. Like, you can really benefit off of anything. Like, you just got to find that niche and like go with it. So yeah, that's my tip. My tip is just to find what you love and like just post and tell your real opinion on it. Cause people just want to see, like, people don't want the fake stuff anymore. Like, they just want to see who you are. Like, they want the real reviews. Yeah. I think we've come a long way too, since like literally 3 years ago.
Nice.
And you know what? I'll just throw this out there. You guys, do you know KSI, the boxer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know one of the girls fighting.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think he went public recently. He's got like a huge following on TikTok.
Okay.
And he like shared how much he's made the whole time. And it's
I don't want to know how much he made.
It's actually pennies.
Oh, on TikTok. On
TikTok. So what stood out to me, like, yo, I'm happy I kind of missed the TikTok wave.
Yeah, like,
I don't think it's worth it.
No, TikTok, like, you can, even if you get paid, I've heard it's not that much, but KSI is a millionaire on other platforms.
And you know what I was going to say, this is my opinion, this is my dream, is I think the smartest influencers are people like KSI who come out with like their own branded drink, right? Yeah. Meaning they go from influencer to they're the ones plugging the actual product.
Exactly.
So
Nice.
yeah,
Even Emma Chamberlain, if you know who that is.
I know the name. I'm so bad.
Yeah, she's like 20 now, 21. She's multi-millionaire now, but she started on YouTube like 4 years ago, I'd say. And then she always drank coffee. So she started her own coffee business, but it's like the same thing like that. Like, it's like people go crazy for that. Like, merch isn't even cool anymore. It's like release a product.
Yeah, that's right. Just so you know, there's a good friend of the podcast creates wicked pizza here in Markham, Ontario, Canada. Slice of Fire. We always promote their stuff. They've been a fan of us. They did a giveaway with us. They may be naming a pizza after Fight Insight podcast very soon. So
Okay, I'm gonna have to try that.
That was gonna, some cross promotional stuff.
FaceTime.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Last fan question I'm going to ask. I like this one. This was from Strong Island Hip Hop. Hockey or boxing, if you got to pick one?
Hockey or boxing? Like, for me personally, to like play?
Yeah, whatever. Or which do you like better? Yeah.
You know what's weird? This is like very bad, but my dad's like a Toronto Maple Leafs stan. Hockey, I don't know why. I just like don't love hockey that much. I'd way rather go to a boxing event. But if it was basketball and boxing, that one's a bit hard for me.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
And didn't Canadians technically invent basketball? Isn't that something I heard once?
Yeah. Is it basketball?
Yeah, we invented Joe. I want to say Joe. No, what the hell was the guy's name? Anyways, yeah, put a peach basket on the thing, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God.
Sarah, do you not know your Canadian history?
No, I knew. We didn't even make hockey, I don't think, though.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But you guys definitely revolutionized it. Thank you.
Canada.
All right. Well, we're going to move on with the podcast. Sarah, this has been an absolute pleasure. You're amazing. And,
thank you.
Anytime I can see why people follow you. I can see why people want to watch your videos. And in doing some research to get to know you, like I was watching some of your stuff. It's good stuff. So guys, do follow Sarah Farrugia at s.farr, Farr on Instagram, and then go find her on YouTube and everywhere else, right?
Yes.
Before we move on with the podcast, though, Sarah, is there anything that you want to say to our fans, viewers, listeners, your fans that are watching here? Is there anything that you want to leave them with before we move on?
I guess that's so hard. I'm like being put on the spot. I guess like if I could say anything, if you follow me, you never know what you're going to expect. I could be, jumping out of a plane next week. So you never know what's going to happen on my channel, which is why I like it. I don't have a niche. I just do everything. So yeah, I'm happy to everyone that's like supported me this far too, and like supported me during this fight. And I'm excited to see where we go.
It's amazing, Sarah. I really appreciate this. This is so cool. Mark told me that you're a really cool person and said, yeah, you got to get her on the podcast. And so I'm glad that he did. Like that's the way that we find our guests too, right? A lot of people like recommend someone else.
Yes. I can't believe he sent that voice note. Like I'm literally going to hold that against him.
Definitely. Before we move on, I want to say next week on the podcast, speaking of referrals, we got a fighter coming on because I know her agent, but it is Tanya Nijar. She's out of British Columbia, and she's fighting on January 18th at Invicta Fighting Championship. So she has her first MMA fight with Invicta, which is a massive all-female league. So Tanya Nijar out of British Columbia, Canada. So very excited to have her. And some friends of the podcast update. We do this, Sarah. We always talk about like our former guests and how they're doing or what they've got coming up. Laura Gallardo from last season's Tough. She fights January 18th on that same Invicta card. Laura was on our podcast. We talked a lot about tarot cards and tarot readings and stuff like that. So she's a really cool person. Can't wait for her. Jenna Bishop. She fights February 25th at Bellator, her first Bellator fight. Slim Reaper, Ray Rowland. We had him on. He fights for the Up Next Fighting. He's fighting his second amateur fight January 28th. Go give that guy a follow. And then Jillian the Savage Robertson, Canadian MMA fighter out of Niagara Falls. Holy shit. She fought last week. We didn't even get to talk about this, Brady Bunch. She was fighting a grappling event last week against the former UFC champion Rose Namajunas. She strangled her in 65 seconds. Game over.
Oh my God.
So quick. It was brutal. And I'm so proud of her and happy for her. Jillian the Savage Robertson. Congratulations to our good friend. Crazy.
Where do I watch these? These are so fun.
Wait, this podcast is so fun, or the fights? What are you talking about?
Both, but I do want to watch the fights. Like that January. Well, they all seem cool, but January 18th. What is that?
It's
like,
on Invicta. I don't even know where Invicta is on anymore. I think it's on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
For Canadians, cool. I think it's on YouTube. Nice. So it's all women fights. But yeah, some good fights coming up there. And then we'll meet Tanya next week. Like, I don't know Tanya, so we'll meet her next week. But I've been told by her agent, Remington, that she's very cool. So he never lies to us. Awesome. I do want to say shout out to Rageworks Podcast Network at rageworksnetwork.com. They're a podcast network that we're a part of. So thanks to them as well. Sorry, Brady.
And all I was going to say, Sarah, anything we come across, I'll shoot your way.
Yes, send it my way.
Yeah. And Sarah, when I'm saying these names of all these fighters, some of the professional ones, you don't seem like you recognize. Do you watch a lot of UFC at all?
I watch
MMA.
Okay, my main gal is Christy Martin, if you know who that is. I love her.
Okay.
We actually have a picture of her in our gym. She's like my female idol for boxing.
Nice.
Yeah, and then obviously just I do watch boxing, but I don't really know. I know what's the one guy's name? Canelo.
Yeah.
Right.
What about MMA though?
MMA. Oh, someone said that I fight Amanda Nunes.
There you go.
Obviously that's hyped up, but I've started following her. Obviously, I know Ronda Rousey, but I'm starting to learn it all. So
all right. Well,
people fall in love with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because there's a lot of great strikers like Amanda Nunes, right? Yeah. That you can take a lot of inspiration into the boxing ring too.
Yeah.
And all I got to say too, Timmy, do you know Christy Martin?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just really cool. With the whole, crazy story behind her story.
You know what's so crazy? I actually messaged her on Instagram. I didn't think she was going to answer, but I messaged her before Rough and Rowdy, and she answered me.
That's awesome.
So
nice.
I was I'm literally going to frame this. Thank you. But
that's
my
awesome.
need to meet her. She's so cool.
That's pretty cool. Now, we're going to get to a really serious topic with the Dana White thing. But before we move to that, very quickly, I want to show this on screen. Social media, right? Sarah's here because she's a social media influencer, big online. We've talked with other UFC fighters that talk about how important it is to brand yourself and be important on social media, because then the promotions like you and they promote you, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about the promotions themselves? How popular are they on social media? And does that give us an idea of who's number one in the world? So this is from our friends over at MMA_gains. And they showed the Instagram growth of the three major US organizations, UFC, PFL, and Bellator.
Wow.
UFC is sitting at 35.5 million. They gained 5 million followers in 2022.
Oh my God.
Bellator has 3.4 million, gained 400,000 in a whole year. And then there's PFL with 539,000, only gaining 56,000 in the year. That really puts into perspective how much UFC is blowing these other guys out of the water. And then for reference, ONE FC over in Asia, 7 million total.
Wow.
We don't know how much they gained because he didn't track them. That's how much we care about them, really. But isn't that kind of crazy how small those other guys are?
Yeah. What even are the other ones?
I don't know, Sarah. It doesn't matter. they're like the other organizations. They're the other big organizations, but so they're following again, showing it it's 3.4 million. That's less than a lot of fighters have on their own.
Yeah.
And then PFL, which is if you talk to some people, it's the next big thing.
Yeah.
539,000 followers.
Is huge.
But you know what? It makes sense to me, the UFC, because they're so global. Right?
Yeah.
They put their fingers in every nation. They're adding nations every year.
Yeah. And they also do a lot of promo with like known influencers too. Like
Yeah.
I've seen their name everywhere.
Speaking of Dana White, even he hops on those popular
Yeah.
podcasts.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you guys know who the
Nelk
Nelk
Boys.
Boys are.
No,
Yeah.
who the hell? Okay, who the hell are the Nelk Boys?
You don't know who the Nelk Boys are?
Like, I mean, I know I've seen them with Dana White or whatever, but what are these guys famous for?
So they are from Mississauga. Like I've actually been. I went to like one of their little parties.
Canada?
Like, yeah, Mississauga, Canada.
Okay.
So it started off with two guys. It was like Kyle and Jesse, and they did pranks. Like they would go into Tim Hortons, and like there's this one where they do a roll up the rim thing, and Kyle pretends he won a car and like pranks everyone in the like. I don't even know. It's just like I don't even know how they're not arrested or like have been hurt. Like it's like they take it. It's like Jackass to the max, like on YouTube, pretty much. But yeah, so they've done things with just like Dana White, UFC, Trump, like they're crazy. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I didn't. Okay, I know, but I don't know who they are, what they do. But okay, fine. It's just crazy that like these other organizations have such a small following. Like to me, it's like crazy because even Bellator this weekend or January 30th, they had a big event where it was Bellator versus Risen, this like Asian promotion. And so like it was January 29th and they start putting posters on their Instagram.
Okay.
And it's just flooded with comments going, I didn't even know this was happening. I didn't know this was happening.
Like that's just on their marketing. Like what's going on there?
Like how do you have such bad marketing that no one even knows you have an event?
No, it's
rough.
No, it's really interesting too. BKFC, bare knuckle boxing, which is like the
I've seen that.
Yeah, you're gonna do that?
I love it, but they're at 1 million at the moment on Instagram.
Dang.
Okay, I'm telling you, BKFC is my favorite after UFC. Like I really love that promotion. That's
so
great.
Scary though. I saw like a knockout the other day and I was like, is he dead? Like
yeah. It gets pretty gross. Although, Sarah, we've talked to fighters. We've had a couple of girl fighters from BKFC on, and they say that it's a lot of cosmetic. Like you'll get like the scar, the cutting and stuff, but then it all heals, and they say it's not as bad.
My retinas would be out of my eyes. Like my eyes would be rolling on the floor.
Yeah. I don't know. But anyway, I just think it's crazy. Like when we're looking at the growth of these organizations. And last week, Brady Bunch, we had our year-end show where we were making predictions and stuff. I swear one of my predictions, my second prediction was going to be that one of these companies is going to go under. I don't know how you can survive when you realize that's how small of a reach you have. And these are like companies that are putting out millions and millions of dollars every year. Mm-hmm. How can you live like when that's how many people?
But let's not forget little things. Like I know PFL, I think, has some type of agreement with ESPN at the moment. Mm-hmm. So they've got some money. Bellator with Showtime. I think it comes down to whether companies like that are like, you're not worth our time or money anymore.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it ends.
But how can those like ESPN endorsements or like Amazon Prime for ONE FC, how much money could they possibly be giving them that's going to float their whole like it's impossible. You still need to be successful. Like, and if people aren't following you, it means they're not buying your product. It means they're not buying your merchandise. And right?
You know what I think one of the biggest problems is? It's almost like this, and I don't know why they do this, but I believe, for example, I'm going to be fighting, it sounds like in March 11th.
Ooh.
I wanted to fight somewhere else for another organization. And guess when their next date was? March 11th. Guess what? What I noticed is like every time there's like a big UFC Saturday night, well, that's when Bellator's on, right? So
yeah, like you got to move your days, right?
Yeah. Why compete against it's like whenever someone tried to compete against the NFL, it never works out. Yeah. They go bankrupt. It's a nice try, right?
Yeah.
So that's half of it. If they had Friday night fights, if they had Wednesday, like I think that's where they would grow.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea because that's Invicta, the female organization, they do theirs on Wednesday nights, I swear. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, just put it on a day when people have nothing else to watch, like no major competitor. At least maybe you're going to grow then. But like, yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, Sarah, maybe they can help you out. I always feel like some of these organizations need like, and I don't even know if they have, I don't think they do, but like social media managers for the company that then help the fighters grow, help them, like, because it seems like their growth is too small. Like they need people to run these departments. And same as some fighters, I swear to God, they need like image consultants, you know, like fix up their image, you know, make them look a little cooler. You don't have to pretend you're someone you're not.
Yeah.
But like even Sarah, like your videos when you were promoting this fight, it was kind of like how you look now in the face of the camera. You were talking shit to the camera, but it seemed natural. It seemed real, and it was you. Yeah. But you put that out there, right?
Yeah.
I feel like other fighters, they got to do that. And then maybe some of these organizations have to do that, because I can't even name like 10 Bellator fighters. You know what I mean? Aside from the people we've had on this podcast, it's really hard for me to name a bunch of them.
Yeah, they have to start a little PR move. Like,
yeah, you got to do something to like make a PR. Okay, speaking about bad PR. Okay, literally yesterday or whatever it was comes out, and I'm not going to play the video because I don't want to support this in any way, but there was the video of Dana White. Okay, and so we're going to talk about this, where he slaps his wife during a physical altercation. This is from MMA fighting, maybe, or wherever I got this clip. But it just shows in a video released by TMZ on Monday, Dana White can be seen talking to his wife, Anne, who has her hands over her face before he grabs her wrist. She then responds by slapping him in the face. Dana then reacts by slapping his wife in the face as other people in the group get between them. From there, then she then turns around and starts to hit him immediately back too. So this comes out horrible, like horrible. I was very surprised at the reaction that I got online, that I saw how people were reacting to it.
How are people reacting to it?
I'm a little disgusted. It's like split.
Can I show you? I took a few clips of what people wrote. Okay,
God,
these are
scared.
Here's this person. She deserved it. Anyone against Dana is just licking balls at this point.
Oh my God.
Like,
and then
people actually need help. Like, I can't.
It's crazy. Okay, now here's this one, Sarah. I didn't even show this guy's name on purpose. I'm in no way implying he should have hit her, but only that if she hit him first, it's understandable why he retaliated. Is it?
Do you know my opinion?
Yeah, go ahead.
Any boy or man that I see making comments like that, what I assume is you've never been hit by a man before, and it's disgusting.
Sorry, guys.
And like,
holy cow, Sarah, get professional here. What's going on?
Like, why is my house home phone? Like, who has a home phone?
Who has a home phone, Sarah?
I'm saying, like, what is this?
Sarah, you just lost followers.
I'm so sorry. Like, this is really embarrassing.
That's Dana White calling, trying to end this conversation.
Yeah, you
shut this down.
Sorry.
So you're saying if a guy says this?
Yeah, I've seen so many men or boys, I'm assuming Andrew Tate followers, supporting the fact that like she hit him first. Equal rights, all those stupid sayings. And it's all the keyboard warriors. And as we know, I guarantee majority of those people talking that way have never been in a real fight, right? And what I will say is this, hate to get political. I'm clearly non-binary. I'm clearly different. And I think back, so here's the truth, being non-binary, as Timmy knows, I only want to fight people like myself or male opponents. I want fair matches. In my opinion, me taking on a natural woman would not be fair. Cisgender girl, I have a sister that's both my sisters, tough as nails, could probably rough most girls up, but I have an edge and it would not be fair. Yeah. So I think back to when, now I don't agree with this, but there was 2 trans MMA fighters that fought women, and people like Dana White came out and said some disgusting stuff. And I remember like Jake Shields being like, oh, you just transitioned so you could beat up women, right? So I'm just curious, you know, how many people that were talking shit about a trans woman fighting a woman, which, by the way, I'm not for that, right, personally. But how many of them will speak up and speak out against Dana White when he's beating his wife? And it wasn't just one hit. I think it was 3 strikes. He knocked her to the ground. right?
Damn.
It's known he's on TRT. That guy's juiced up. No excuse.
Yeah. Like the thing to the person that just wrote in there that says, well, she hit him first.
Doesn't matter.
Like, well, okay, first of all, what I do want to point out is nobody knows what happened before that video starts.
Yes.
Like that video shows her like this, and then she hits him first, but you don't know what happened before that video started. So not even that's a pointless, like that's a stupid argument in the first place, in my opinion. But you don't even know what happened before that video took place. Because why was that person recording the two of them?
Something obviously must have happened. Like
something must have been going on to the point that this person then turns their camera on to film the two of them. You think it was just freaking random luck that you turn your camera on and she smacks him in the face? Like, no.
Yeah, it just sucks that like physical, like anything physical has to come into a fight. Like it's just unfortunate. Like,
yeah, I mean, so the other thing too is people were saying, oh, she struck first or blah, blah. One thing I will say is I don't think that if it happens in public, it was the first time.
I agree.
And I have no data to support that. I'm just saying, I think if you're at the point where you do it in public, I feel like it probably wasn't the first time.
Yeah, it's just scary. Like you never even know what's going on behind closed doors. It's actually terrifying.
Yeah, like would we be talking about it at all if someone didn't happen to catch that clip on video? Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. If you don't know, it is funny because last week on the podcast, I talked about how some guy was talking shit about our podcast and saying that we're always negative and trying to get people canceled and blah, blah. And I was like, are you fucking stupid? Like we're never about that. We're always about showing both sides to arguments and things like that. And then this thing with Dana happens and I go, oh shoot, there was the one guy I wanted to get canceled and fired was when Dana hired Greg Hardy.
I don't even know who that is.
Okay, so Greg Hardy was a guy who was convicted, charged, but never convicted of domestic assault against his girlfriend or whatever. But it was, it ended up she took a settlement.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't necessarily mean they brought him into the UFC, and it was a big thing because at the time there were two girls, and I'm sure there's others that have come out against domestic abuse and who have been victims of domestic abuse, Andrea KGB Lee and Rachel Ostovich. And they both came out saying like, why is this guy in the UFC?
Yeah.
And it kind of was a thing, but people seem to like not fucking care. And then this guy was in the UFC. Now he's been cut since because he didn't perform well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be very interesting what happens with Dana White now. Like, Sarah, I know you don't know a lot about this world and stuff like that, but what do you think happens to this man who's the owner of the UFC?
Oh my gosh. I have no idea. Like, I heard that Dana fired someone for beating up his wife. I saw that on, or something was going on with that.
Okay, hold on. I just posted that. You're probably watching.
Oh, was that you? I saw it.
So, so sorry, let me bring that up. So he's talking, this was just maybe a few months ago when they fired Dan Hardy, not Greg Hardy. Dan Hardy, who was their announcer. Okay. He got fired from UFC for, in quotation, mistreatment of one of their female employees. I think it was more just like yelling and stuff like that. But he talks about in that clip, how dare he mistreat women? He's fired.
Okay.
So as like a public persona, what happens to this guy now with this video out there? Obviously, we don't know anything. God knows what it was, but there may be people here that think that there's no reason ever that he should hit her.
Yeah.
What do you think happens? Do you think he gets fired? Do you think his power will allow him to remain president? Do you think he'll have to take a hiatus?
I feel like he'll definitely have to leave. Like, that's just not, I don't feel like anyone should support that. Let's just, because you think of UFC, and when I think of it, I think of like, obviously the fighting industry is insane. Like, it's just like people fighting in a ring. And then like, when you think of it outside of that, it's scary. Like, I don't know. Like, I could never see myself actually being in like a real fight. Like, I just keep it as a sport. So it's it just gets a bit scary when it's outside of that. You never really know again what happens behind closed doors. So it's just.
But you think he gets fired?
Yeah, like I don't support that at all. Like I think mental and physical abuse just in a relationship is so scary on its own. So you never know what's actually going on if he's treating other people like that. Like who knows? You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely don't stand for it. So
who would fire him though? This is where I'm dumb.
So he used to own the UFC, right? Yeah. But then he sold on March 18th, 2019, he signed a new 7-year contract to remain president of the UFC. So he's technically the president as an employee of the company, I believe. They sold the company to WME, this multi-corporation, blah, 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 for the billions of dollars or whatever they sold it for. He had a 9% stake in UFC at the time. I think he sold off his ownership. I think he still has a stake, but he's not owner. And even if he was, he'd be a minority owner where I feel like, there's like corporate crap where they can like boot you out or whatever. At the very least, he's on a contract to be president of the UFC. He doesn't just get that. So he could be fired. He could be removed.
And one thing I'm wondering about is much of their continued growth and success is from them linking up with Team Disney, which controls ESPN
and all that. Yeah.
Right. And so, I'm really wondering if the heads at Disney are going to put pressure on Dana. Yet, I largely think Dana's going to float on by. I think he's going to be protected. I think they're going to spin this PR as much as possible. And what I will say is this. We don't know, but I'm hoping that Dana and his wife are in therapy about this. And at the end of the day, I'm most concerned about the kids. But yeah, that's it. Like if Dana shows that he's in therapy, he's working on this, he owns up to what he did, I think it's a very different story.
I think he released a statement, so did his wife, about, hey, very apologetic, blah, blah, blah. We hope for privacy during this time, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I just don't know that even if you were to do something like that, that you can then every week go out and promote fights and be in that world. Like it seems contradictory to the thing. I know it's his job and I don't want him to lose his job per se, but like, it's tough.
And you know what's so bad? So Sarah, he also just started his new venture is a professional slap league.
Oh my God.
And he literally was slapping his wife. Like this is a big push, his new big thing this year.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him. How can you promote a slap league?
I think it's actually like that's over. I don't know.
Sarah thinks it's all over for him either way, which I agree. I mean,
I don't know. That's just so scary. Like, ugh.
I know. And I'm so sorry to make this a depressing end to the podcast, but like, look, this is huge news right now.
Yeah,
it's huge. I did want to acknowledge that, yes, I did, to that idiot's point, I did try to say I don't think that one guy should be earning a living and getting a job, which was that guy because of his past. But this is a crazy story. It's out now. And I'll tell you, to anybody listening and watching this podcast, be very cognizant of what people are putting online. Like Sarah, you know about this, right? Like you're a social media star. You know how important it is to be careful about what you put out there.
For sure.
Like people are saying shit like crazy defense of Dana, which fine. We don't know the whole story, but they are putting blanket defenses that when you take them out of context seem really bad.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying to my followers, viewers, and listeners, like, be careful what you put online. And that shit will come back to haunt you at some point when you start defending things like this. Like, it's better almost just to say nothing for now.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Yeah. I definitely don't know too much about the situation, but what I've seen, it's just obviously wrong. So.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm taking bets. I think the guy gets fired. I'm going out there and saying I think the guy gets fired. I think that this is the end of him. I don't think you come back from something like this.
My bet is I'm going to make the opposite bet. I think he's got rich, powerful friends. I think he's got a lot of money, and he's based in America. Maybe if this was Canada, where you people are a little nicer and have better, I don't know. I'm sure you guys disagree a bit, but I think someone like Dana White has enough powerful buddies who have done horrible things and have risen up to offices such as the President of the United States. I'm sorry, I don't want to get political.
Yeah, they're like all friends, I think. So
Yeah.
So, like,
I don't know. Sarah, you're thinking he gets fired.
Yeah, I think he should at least be like, something should happen. I don't know.
My last question for both of you, because you are both actual fighters. If you are a female fighter in the UFC, how do you have a relationship with that guy? Assuming what we saw is real, allegedly, all the asterisks as you want. If you're a female in the UFC, how do you deal with that?
That's just like such a. I don't even think I could look at someone the same. Like, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. And how hard is it when he is such the face of the organization?
He's literally
your relationship with him totally determines your future in that organization.
Yeah.
And now you've got to suck up to him.
Yeah. Well, it's like a lot of people look up to him too. So it's like a terrible look for him, obviously. Like, that's just like, just gives me the ick a bit. Well, a lot, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Brady Bunch.
You know what? Sadly, this is so I think Timmy knows a bit of this, but there was a point in time I was in federal court fighting a big institution. You don't know this, Timmy?
No.
It's like, what?
Okay, hold on. But we don't have a lot of time to go now. But what?
Right. But let's just say I won. New York City settled with me in federal court related to a violation of my rights. Disgusting story. This part of what turned me into a fighter. It rose up to the governor's office, all this stuff. I'm not going to get too far into it, but something that stood out to me. Lots of people knew the disgusting things that were done to me, including having my privates grabbed at work by individuals, and people got away with it for a long time. And if anything, it was my job that was in danger for speaking up for myself.
Oh my God.
In the end, I won after 3 lawyers and a lot of money. But one thing I will say is this. When money is involved and people's paychecks are involved, some of my best friends who could have helped me out in the workplace decided to instead protect their paycheck. And sometimes I have to wonder, I probably would have been spoken up for them, but at the same time, when you've got kids to feed and stuff, that's why I think Dana White is going to get his ass kissed. Hopefully his ass kicked one day.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm sorry.
Or whatever. But yeah, so I do think a lot of people are going to feel awkward.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be called out much for it at all.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, look, we talk about all things crazy on this podcast. We're still following up on the goddamn betting scandal, which we haven't even solved yet. There's a big betting scandal, Sarah, in UFC right now with people throwing fights and stuff like that, which we're still investigating. So
wow,
we've got so much stuff going on, guys. We're at the end of time for sure. We appreciate everybody coming. For those of you that are here because of Sarah, obviously, thank you so much. Please follow and subscribe to us as well. For those that are our regular followers, go check out Sarah Farrugia. She's amazing, obviously, as you can tell. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Sarah. You are the absolute best. Couldn't have asked for a better guest for our first one of 2023.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me as your first. That's so nice.
And as episode 99, in honor of our great Canadian hero, Wayne Gretzky. So,
wow. Okay.
There you go. Sarah, thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it. Anytime you want to come back, if you're going to promote another fight, we would love to help you promote it.
Of course.
For anything we can do. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Can I say one thing quick?
Yeah, of course.
By the way, I really did love your fight. And the fact that it's only 5 to 6 weeks. Anyone who hasn't watched it, especially when they post the full thing, you got to watch it. And props to you, because just the way you kept moving.
Yeah.
Understands how tiring that just moving your fist could be.
Oh my God, I couldn't breathe. Like, it hurt. I think I need to learn how to breathe, because I don't think I took one breath the entire time.
That was part of my problem in my last round in my last match. Forgot to breathe.
Exactly. But if anyone sees the Rough and Rowdy full video, make sure to leave a nice comment because there's definitely going to be some bad ones on there.
No, aside from you lying about your height, everything should be fine.
Guys, I'm actually 6'2". I'm 6'2".
Yeah, everything should be fine. Look, I'm so glad for your success. I'm so glad that you're healthy and that you're ready to take on another opponent. I think people are going to be crazy to watch you again. I think you gained a lot of followers and fans from that one fight, so people are going to be excited to see you again. And all the best to you. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, see you later. Bye, Sarah. Thank you.